It seems to be a season for surveys, at least that's what it looks like. After Sambhal, now Ajmer comes on the call. An organization called Hindu Sena has called for the Jama Masjid survey to be done in Delhi also. So where will this all stop? Because right now the Congress is hopping mad. It has written to the Supreme Court asking for an intervention to stop these surveys across all states. Now that's a tall order, which even the Supreme Court will not agree. Because the main thing that the Congress wants to stop is a survey. Now the question obviously would ask me, what is there to hide in a survey? If there is no temple below the structure or whatever it is, a mosque or a dargah or whatever it is, why are you scared? That's a question one needs to ask. If the Archaeological Survey of India officials have been asked to go and check, they might come back with a reply saying there's nothing there. But as we saw in the case of Sambhal, there was a deliberate attempt to change the contours of a monument that was listed as an ASI property. As we know, you cannot even move a brick if it's an ASI property, if it's an ASI classified heritage site. But in Sambhal, that was done. Then came Ajmer. And as we saw in Ajmer too, there was a lot of resistance that's coming up. Sambhal, of course, went into a mess. There was police firing, there was stone throwing, all the things happened. But now the question is, where will it stop? Congress says the entire thing started with the Ram Janmabhoomi case and accuses the then Chief Justice, Justice Chandrachud, of kind of provoking all this. The entire thing basically rests on the Places of Worship Act 1991, which was passed by the then P.V. Narasimha Rao government. Basically, not to get into the legalities of it, it said whatever existed on 15th of August 1947, that is it. So if there's a masjid standing there or there's a dargah standing there, even if there was a temple below it, it would still be the masjid or the dargah. Now we know that over thousands of years, India has been ruled by different rulers, from the Afghans to the Persians to the British to the Dutch, the French. Everybody came and had a ball here. They destroyed many of our monuments, particularly in North India, and no less in South India too. We saw the damage that was caused to Hampi, for example, or the campaigns carried out down south in Kerala and even in parts of Karnataka by Tipu Sultan and his father Hyder Ali. Hundreds of temples were destroyed in Kerala. Many of them have disappeared. The land has been grabbed. But what is now happening is the series of surveys. We saw that with the Gyanvapi, we saw that with Mathura. And everybody knows that there are temples that were standing there. Then why this denial? Why is there a denial saying, no, we will not allow this to happen? The question obviously we would ask is, why should you stop this? In fact, Hindu Sena's National President Vishnu Gupta has written to the Director of Archaeological Survey of India demanding a survey of Delhi's iconic Jama Masjid. In fact, the Gupta goes on to allege, and we really don't know the kind of legality of this or the correctness of this, that there are Hindu deities and idols who are buried within the mosque. Well, that has happened in many other places, we know that for sure. But does that qualify for a survey? Yes, what is there in a survey? After all, there's nothing there. In fact, the allegation by the Hindu Sena chief is that the historic Jama Masjid was constructed after the demolition of temples in Jodhpur and Udaipur. And he claims that the remains of these temples, including those of the deities, were used in stairs of the mosque to humiliate Hindus. And I've seen this in particular 2 or 3 Islamic structures where they've deliberately used stones to insult the Hindus. As you go up the stairs, it is deliberately put there. But then the question is, where will it all start and where will it all end? To start with, let there be a national survey across the board. Unlike the Waqf property, where they can claim it Waqf is a Waqf, here we are saying check. And we saw that with the Ram Janmabhoomi case. And I had personally interviewed Dr. K.K. Muhammad. And he himself said that, as he said in the Supreme Court, that there is a structure below what was standing there, the Babri structure. I won't call it a mosque. It was not used as a mosque. The Babri structure had something below it. It is an old temple, not sure of the origins of the temple, but there was a temple. Now, the question is, how will this all happen? We saw the regimes, particularly the regimes of Aurangzeb. He has destroyed hundreds of temples across the board. He hated the Hindus. We saw, and across all rulers, by the way, it's not just Aurangzeb, across all the Mughal rulers, the same thing continued. And Jama Masjid officials, of course, have said that they have no comment on this exit. The archaeological survey has been asked, have been requested to conduct a thorough examination of the mosque structure. Now, obviously, they can't do it on their own. They will need an order from the court, as we saw in the case of Sambhal. Now, the question is also down south, we know that there are many places where temples have been destroyed and religious structures built over it. Will the government of India now come up with a law that will kind of repeal the Places of Worship Act 1991, which by mistake, as Sai Deepak pointed out in one of his famous videos recently, that there is a mistake even in the order of the Supreme Court in the Ram Janmabhoomi case, and also a case that came from another court to the Supreme Court. And obviously, time has now come to repeal that act to the Narasimha Rao government, as much as the Waqf Act is going to be kind of amended. If you ask me, they should be done away totally with. There should be no Waqf, no endowments, and nothing in India. Let the devotees run their own structures. And that is the main important thing. The endowments is all under the government, the state government or the union government, as the case may be, whereas the mosques or the churches are under the individual religious trust or whatever the organizations are called. The question is, why are Hindus being discriminated against? And this is why these claims are coming up, saying there was a religious structure here, there was something standing here, and we require a detailed assessment of the old records to see what was really there. And the Archaeological Survey of India, which has been sleeping all these years, need to wake up and smell the coffee. That is why this demands in Ajmer, Sambhal, and now Jama Masjid is coming up. We need to check the sources. We need to know what was really there, as detailed as possible, possibly a special commission under Dr. K.K. Mohammed, for example. He's a kind of a legend in this field. And definitely, we need answers for all this. Otherwise, more and more requests are going to come up, and there will be a situation where, people will start resorting to violence, as we saw in the case of Sambhal. Or in the case like in Uttarakhand, where people will demand the demolition of mosques which are illegally built. Not over any structure, just illegally built. And that is what. So surely, time has now come to completely check the Mughal rule. We cannot wish away the kind of atrocities that the kings, right from the top of the order, from Babur to Aurangzeb had done. Time has come now to check each and everything. In fact, the Archaeological Survey of India spokesperson in this particular case said they have no knowledge regarding the specific correspondence regarding the Jama Masjid issue. Now the question again I ask you is, what will happen to the Places of Worship Act? Will the Narendra Modi government repeal this act in the subsequent parliamentary sessions? That's $1 million question, or $1 million rupee question. Thank you for watching. Jai Hind.